We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Kiss my ass. They're criminals. It is a hole. You ever been there?
He says what everyone else is thinking.
I'm dedicated to it. I can't be stopped.
I just want to go hunting. It makes me feel so good. I just want to go hunting. Try to find me in the woods. You know, I was always different. Nobody understood. I didn't play follow the leader because I was always in the woods. They hadn't invented peer pressure yet. Seems I stood alone. But my daddy had a vision. Love, family, and a home, and puppies. This is Jackson. Look at Jackson, everybody. Who doesn't enjoy a Ted Nugent, Real America's Voice, Spirit Campfire with the beautiful Jackson Red Labrador from the Mossy Pond Lodge in Georgia? I'm absolutely drunk on puppy love. Welcome back to the Spirit Campfire. And you can tell it's the Spirit Campfire because I got the #1 woodchuck retrieving Labrador in the world. And I'm feeling mighty good. I'm feeling mighty good in spite of the royal cluster funk. That's right, cluster funk world around me. I could say cluster funk, but I can't change the N to a C or I get censored. It's so stupid. Anyhow, my name is Ted Nugent full-time, and I'm having so much fun. It ain't right. Everything I do is the right thing. Everything I do is a morally correct, truth, logic, common sense, we the people, righteous thing, but it's all against the law. No, really, this morning I broke so many laws. I actually threw corn on my private farm. I threw corn on the ground. It's against the law. You know, I can't show you the #1 finger, but it's here. All right, Jackson. Go see Coco and Sadie, you go play. And Jackson retrieved a big fat woodchuck with my Browning A-Bolt 22 mag shooting Remington ammo at 99 yards. I had to carefully open this living room window. That's probably against the law. It's also against the law. Hey, Steve, turn that fan on next to you there. That's my favorite fan. I have a fan club. Just turn it on all the way. Yeah, keep going. That's plenty. Okay, anyhow, I'm here in the man cave cuckoo's nest celebrating truth, logic, and common sense, which happens to be kryptonite to everybody who has power in our world, except the real power lies in your spirit. Do you have and are you pursuing full-time with much avidity, extreme exuberance, passion, spirit, avidity? There's a pistol named the Avidity, and it's... anyhow, 30 carry. So I digress because it's August. And you know what that means? It was a cool morning this morning. So I have my LaRue Tactical shirt on. LaRue Tactical, maybe the most accurate rifles in America, along with Christensen Arms. I met the Christensen Arms people at the NRA event in Dallas, and they're making me a Christensen Arm fiber carbon barrel. Just technology. Happy hunting season 2024. The best guns, the best ammo. I like Remington Corlock. The best bows, the best arrows, the best broadheads. And I guess the real question today, if you have avidity, if you carpe diem, if you seize the day that God gave you, then maybe you would have a bloody arrow like I do. Do you have a bloody arrow? Barack. That's Minutemen Coffee coming to the service. Minutemen Coffee. Thank you, Minutemen Coffee. You inspire my interplumbing. But here's a bloody arrow. I whacked me a massive angry pork swine last night at Sunrise Acres. Do you have a game preserve? You should get yourself a game preserve. Don't buy alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, or tattoos, or bling bling. Don't pay anybody to cut your hair. Every once in a while, I get a piece of scissors. If the hair comes down in front of my face, I cut it. I don't pay somebody to cut my hair. I cut my hair. You know how much money I've spent on bling bling? Zero. Well, I used to wear a necklace, Ted. Yeah, a girl gave me that. The girls give me superfluous. Most of it's not superfluous. It's integral. But yes, Jackson wants to bite a woodchuck. So I've got a bloody arrow. I'm shooting a 50-pound Matthews image bow. Graceful, just so graceful. See, I have priorities, and I know this is real America's voice, and we're supposed to talk, and we are compelled, as we the people who are supposed to be in charge of never letting people pretend they're kings or tyrants or despots or Führers or emperors. The Führers and the despots and the slave drivers and the tyrants, which includes the freak, the mentally ill, spiritually retarded freak, Joe Biden and his entire Democrat gang. And now they choose the governor of Minnesota to be the vice president, who has mandated tampons in the boys' locker rooms. John Belushi would have declined this Saturday night spoof because it's too stupid, offensive, and toxic. He can pretend to be a Japanese samurai guy with a real sword, almost cut his co-host. He can pretend the silliest things in the world, but you don't pursue the silliest, most evil, dangerous, brain-dead, soulless, anti-human, communist monsters like Governor Walz, who has mandated tampons in boys' bathrooms in Minnesota? I mean, when Governor Walz was sleeping one night, did someone come in and perform some kind of, a lobotomy, and replace his brain with a sun-baked turd? The man has a sun-baked turd in place of his soul and his brain. Look at his policies. He celebrated the arson terrorism of Minnesota after George Floyd killed himself with a drug overdose. And Kamala Harris, we know how she got into position. Boy, think of the positions she was in to get to the position she's in, which I'm a big fan of on some levels. So we are living in the royal clusterfunk of all times in the once great shining city on the hill, the United States of America. And now Satan runs Uncle Sam. Yeah, you know, Uncle Sam, the guy who is rewarding people from Nigeria and Somalia and the Sudan and communist China, welcoming them, rewarding them with our tax dollars as they invade through our open border. This isn't even the planet of the apes. This would be the planet of the snake devils. So I know that there's a lot of toxicity out there, but meanwhile, won't you join me on Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire, Real America's Voice, where we celebrate effervescent masculinity and effervescent femininity. And those are the only two choices, by the way. Masculinity, effervescence, if you shall, and femininity, always effervescent. Well, most of the time, till you get into courtroom. So I will give you sanctuary by reliving last night's Sunrise Acres pork slam. And I don't know how you like your pork, but I like my pork pissed off. No, really, I like goated, angry swine. And by the way, Michigan Department of Natural Resources, idiots, they're suing me for having feral Russian boar, which there's no such thing as. Maybe they should sue me for having pterodactyls, because feral, according to my Webster's, maybe the Michigan DNR bureaucrats should get a Webster's dictionary and look up the word feral, which would identify domestic livestock that has escaped. And my pigs, we'll get to the lie of Russian boar in a moment, but my pigs are still on Sunrise Acres, which means they haven't escaped, which means they're not feral. They're on the game preserve. You can only be one of two things, either on the farm or escaped. Mine are on the farm, but they're suing me for having escaped feral pigs. And then they call them Russian boar. By the way, you know the only Russian boar that exists are male pigs that live in Russia. The guitar player, the author of Wango Tango, which was really a celebration of life. I have to explain the basic botanical science to bureaucrats who get paid to make policy based on Proposition 6. All wildlife regulations have to be based on sound science, and there's no sound science calling pigs. By the way, there's only pigs, there's only swine. There's not Russian boar would be a male pig, and the one I killed 2 nights ago was a sow, and it's not from Russia, but I'm being sued because it's a male. It's the Caitlyn Jenner syndrome. They can call it whatever they want. And since they can call animals whatever they want, how about I identify as a young man and I open up the Michigan deer season during the youth season? See what I mean? They can get away with it, but those who we employ based on their constitutional oath can get away with violating their constitutional oath, consider engineered recidivism. But we, the people who are the boss, are now in the backseat as tyrants, like the Democrat Party and Republicans that violate their oath continue to dictate illegal commands upon us. And here's I'm going to show you I have my own citation book. I wrote my own We the People citation book, and I'm going to read it to you in the next segment, where if somebody stops me from throwing corn on my farm, I get to throw corn. The combine throws corn. The deer throw corn. Literally, I watched 7 does eating the same corn cob, and corn was spilling. But if I do it, it's against the law. Can you see my response? I have 2 responses that are hidden amongst these trees. 2 of these responses are effective and accurate, and I give those to all bureaucrats right here on the Ted Nugent Real America's Voice Spirit Campfire, where truth, logic, and common sense will drive you wild and make sure you're reminded that freedom starts with the Pledge of Allegiance, the 10 Commandments, the Golden Rule, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I'll be back in a minute with more perfection.